Do you remember being on the school bus? Weird thought. And the Yellow Submarine came on, and like, I don't know.
Everybody would sing that song. Yeah. I used to sing that song like on repeat in my brain all the time. Like, really? I have memories of just playing in the driveway and singing, "We all live in Yellow Submarine." Yep.
Yeah. Now we're gonna all have that earworm for the rest of the day. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Wendy.
They were very good at that. They were very good at earworms. How many beverages you got today?
2. Why?
I'm at my max 3 today.
Oh. Yeah,
I've got 2.
You've got 2.
Nothing fun though, just water.
Nothing has 3. I've got my plain, whatever cup. But then I found
my goodness.
at Hallmark.
It's hilarious.
It's a big happy fat sunshine day for me. So that was a quote from Luke. Right.
I love it.
I have 3 more of these. I've got spring, I've got fall, and I've got winter.
You're hilarious.
Put a smile on your face.
Exactly. Awesome. So, hello and welcome to Smiling Souls. This is Stephanie Keenan Ray and Wendy Tadiucci. How you doing today?
Hey.
Good.
Yeah, right? It's a bright, sunshiny day. And we've already sung the Yellow Submarine. So what could possibly...
Right, we have only to go up from here.
Right.
That's where it's headed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a glorious, glorious day. Man, had my experience last night that I hosted from overwhelm to ease.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. One of the women, I'll just highlight one of the things that came out after my guided meditation.
Mm-hmm.
She said, it felt like discovering and exploring, like I'm walking around with a what do you call it? Thing.
Magnifying glass?
Words today. She's like, it's like I'm walking around and looking at myself with a magnifying glass, and I'm looking at what do I want and what do I need and who am I? That was the big thing. And then she tried to get really going forward really fast, and she's like, okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm like, hey, hold on, hold the phone. But how about if you just simply sit in this noticing that you desire to explore more about yourself, and that's it. No judgment, just curiosity.
Yeah.
And I could see her go,
Right?
So there were many more of those, but that was the big one. So I'm just, when you asked me how it went, I'm like, I can't describe it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's a big breakthrough moment. It's a moment when you realize maybe the life you're living hasn't suited you for the first time. So many of us women are we just get on a track and don't look up. And once we look up, we're like, wait a second, this doesn't serve me anymore, right? So, but that moment, it's important. I'm glad you called her back to that, because you can't, that moment is the pivotal moment. That moment of recognition. And people don't sit in it long enough to really feel it before they start. Again, they go to performing perfection. That means I've made this epiphany, therefore I must.
Yeah, that's what we do, right?
That's right back to that circle.
That's how we are geared. And I'm like, my job is to go, hold on. Hold the phone. So
slow the roll.
Slow your roll, girl.
Yes.
I say that a lot. It's so funny.
Hilarious.
That's so funny, Renee. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
So that's me.
Awesome.
What about you, Steph?
Well, it's the other day I got the special awards for the summit, hand delivered by Jen Nichols to me, because she was up here in Worcester because her stepson's graduating college, and so we were like, she's like, I can hand deliver. I was like, yes. And she and her husband have this machine that can cut wood. It can cut acrylic.
Yeah.
So she actually made these beautiful acrylic awards that say, like, they've got the SheEO logo on them, and they say, like, SheEO Breakthrough Summit June 2020 or whatever.
That's amazing.
Or 2026. What fucking year am I in?
2020.
Please, let's not relive that year.
I think I just was like stopping the sentence, and I was like, nobody needs to know the exact date. It's fine, but 2020 came out. Ooh. But they are gorgeous, and then they made these little wood stands for them, and so it was really cool to have those.
Amazing.
And to get to see her for a half a second. I might possibly see her later today. I'm not sure. It's kind of like, she's like, I've got this much time here and this much time there.
I know it's hard.
Yeah. While balancing family and all the things with all the graduation ceremonies and things.
Yeah, that's a
but
lot.
yeah, and so that was really cool. And then yeah, just it's been a fun, busy week. It's actually funny that you were talking about that woman when you were saying that. Yesterday we did an Aspire to Be workshop for Jackie Cote was our speaker.
Oh my goodness.
And she was talking about the whole thing of like honoring if something no longer works for you, or like if you're dragging your feet on stepping into a new program or whatever the offering is, if you're dragging your feet and not talking about it and not sharing it, like, or not even making it take action, what's holding you back? Is it that it's not in alignment? Is it that you're fearful? Whatever. And that it's okay to shift and tweak and pivot and realize that something's not in alignment with you anymore, and to move forward. And it was really cool because last night, first off, she's like, Steph, you got anything to share? Because she likes to run an interactive workshop. And I was taking the call from my car, so I had I had the screen off and all the things, but I was sitting in a parking lot at one point, and so I turned the screen back on, and I was like, so, I'll share a little bit, and I shared something, and then after the call, I was I had a connect with Jen to work on the summit, and then I was working on something for it, and I was doing the workbook, and I was kind of trying to come up with my offers that people could get into, to work with me, or to know how to work with me, right?
Yes.
And I started, trying to come up with the things, and I'm looking, and there was something that I had in my square that it was like a program that I had created, but I never talk about.
Oh.
And I was like, maybe this is the time. Maybe it's right now. And Olivia Rose was here at the house, and I'm like, Liv, come. I need your ear for a second. Let's talk this out. And she helped me find a way to make it feel so much better. Like I was like, I think I've been dragging my feet because I felt like this had to be a 6 months long program, and I don't want a 6 month long program.
Right.
And so she was like, how about offer it in sessions? Like you get 6 sessions with me. They can book them at whatever time they want. They could book them all in 1 week. They could book them once a week. They could book them once a month.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And if for X price. And I was like, you're brilliant. I love that. Yeah. And she's like, especially going into summer, because people are so precious with their time in summer, they don't want to commit to some 6 month long, twice a week, whatever, or, weekly program, And I was like, brilliant. So, and it felt so good. So then, of course, I had to call Jackie and tell her, like, thank you.
Well, and I love that you found this in your square, and you're like, because there's a time for everything, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? You might think, oh, this didn't happen at this time when I thought it was going to happen, but guess what? Yeah. It almost always comes back. There is a time for everything. Oh my God. That's so
if I created it, there's got to be a reason, right?
There's a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it was just really interesting. So, that's what I've been up to. Making things,
so exciting.
Getting things ready, doing the things.
Ooh, it's time. Yeah. Everything's all the things are happening.
This is
the perfect spring season. Like for me, for you, I'm seeing it for many other women. Just things are blooming. They are blooming.
It's kind of insane. All right, should we oracle card?
We shall.
Okay.
Go first, because I'm just making a note.
You're making notes? Oh my gosh, have you turned into me?
Oh, you've rubbed off. That evil laugh. I love it. But you go first, Steph.
All right, so for me, I pulled the Moor, which I laughed at because last week I pulled the Bog, so I was like, interesting. This one is Silence and Simplicity, which that sounds like me. The moorland is characterized by its lack of trees and its low-growing, uncultivated vegetation. Usually moors occupy high ground. They offer us an evocative expanse. Sorry, I had never seen that word in writing, so my brain just stopped, literally. I apologize for that big break. A sweeping vista and a sense of remoteness. The combination of elevation and openness means that they're often very windy places. The uncluttering simplicity of the moor makes it the landscape to which we might come to achieve clarity. We can breathe deeply and more easily here, in the clear air and the land which sweeps all the way to the far wide horizon. The cleansing wind clears away mental clutter, breaks down the rigidity of customary thought patterns, and frees us from the structures of civilization which both define and confine us. Space is created for new insights and understandings. Our imagination is unshackled, released into timeless, flexible, and magical sphere. The solitude of the moor can sometimes make us feel uncomfortable, but this card invites us to embrace the silence. Here we can learn the art of deep listening and deep sensing. What does the wind have to whisper to you? What patterns can you see in the looming clouds? And when the jumbled detritus of every day is blown away, what remains? And how does that make you feel? And this cracks me up because I've been running a self-care bingo this month where every day I give a very simple prompt. Yeah. Right. And lately, like there's been a couple, like today was literally open a window and take 10 deep breaths. Oh. But then, like, you know, on the bingo card, that's like you just write a short little prompt. I always give them a little paragraph of like extra. So I'm like, open the window or go outside and literally take your deep breaths and just be quiet and sit and listen to your surroundings. Feel the wind on your face. Like, hear the birds singing. You know, whatever the nature around you in your neighborhood is, like, just acknowledge it and be one with it for a minute. And so it's like I've been, for the past, what day is it? 2 weeks, I've been leading people through these very simple prompts that are like that, like just taking time, minute time, but time to just be, and to experience that and the serenity of that, and to shift your brain and to see what happens. And the thing that has blown me away is the conversations, because it's literally just a messenger thread that we're using. Like I'm not making a Facebook group. We're not doing that crap. Yeah. And in the messenger thread, all these people are like sharing their experiences, sharing what they, what happened, or like how much they love this, or, and it's really cool. And so I'm just like laughing because this is, well, obviously we can all work on experiencing and loving the silence and the simplicity, and the expansiveness and how it shifts our brains. But at the same time, I'm also helping that come to fruition for people lately. So it's like a top of mind thing. So yeah, I think it's just to say I'm on the right path, I guess.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. And I think the fact like that you're doing that bingo and like that step outside and that heartbeat moment, like what I talk about in especially the book I wrote, it's about those fractal moments, those tiny moments that we break out of our day that will expand into creating this whole new reality for ourselves.
Yes.
It doesn't have
exactly
to be
what it's about.
a giant leap. It's those tiny shifts that create that fracture.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, so I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about pushing harder. It's just about
expanding.
Yes.
Oh
my goodness.
And now I know why Michelle introduced us to our guest here, because could we all be speaking the same language?
You, Michelle. Well,
I feel like I'm sitting here watching you guys and I'm like, I think we need to be best friends. Like everything you're talking about is what I'm doing, and like I'm so excited that we finally made this connection. So
I know.
Yes, me too. Yes, let's be best friends.
Yep.
And Steph, when you talked about in your self-care bingo, like listening to the birds, listening to nature, I for real yesterday did a guided meditation where I was like, what are you noticing? What are you hearing? Are you hearing birds? Are you hearing wind chimes? What? Oh my goodness. Anyway, girl.
That's amazing.
Ladies, we are all on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, sorry. So, I'll do my card. Distracted. This conversation. Okay, so I pulled Choose Your Potential. It's your light to shine. Here's the bowl of light. I forgot about that until you had the gasp. Gasp, not gas, just to be clear. Unless you did, that's your business.
No.
You have an immense capacity to recognize and accomplish your potential. You can be confident, trust your voice, and be filled with joy and satisfaction. It may not be easy, but you can take the necessary steps and make changes to align yourself with your potential. To realize your full potential, live according to what you hold most valuable. This standard is connected to how you see yourself and the world. Whether you know your values, they are part of your life. Take a moment to identify what they are. Your values could include education, responsibility, reliability, honesty, family, respect, and more. Imagine a situation where you must evacuate your home and only have 5 minutes. What things would you want to make sure it made to safety? If you value knowledge, you might save books or a diploma. You might grab a family treasure or an old guitar. Think about what this item represents. Imagine you have the power to make all your dreams for your future come true, because you do. What does your deepest desire have you doing? Is there a skill set you still need to develop to achieve this reality? Realizing your dream life may take time. Acknowledge your gifts, abilities, and the areas you would like to improve. Recognize the effort you make each day toward attaining your potential. This bowl of light symbolizes the light you hold within yourself. This is the true essence of your being. Think about whether you have diminished or hidden your light. If so, it is time to let it grow and expand. And this is for sure one of the guiding principles for smiling souls. Your bowl of light and letting it shine. Yay. Dang. Wow.
It was meant to be. That's an amazing card.
I was meant to see this card today. Absolutely. And now I get to, not me, the divine.
Yes, you can. You can do yours and I'll do mine for her. We got a double card for Renee.
Okay, so I'm going to choose, the divine is going to choose Renee's card. Sorry. Got it. Okay, so I'm going to start shuffling. Because they're like
yelling at you. They're like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, I know. I know. Okay, so Renee, I'm going to shuffle, and you tell me when to stop.
Okay.
I can get my fingers working. That's so funny.
Okay, let's stop.
Top or bottom?
Top.
Ooh.
Foster a love of nature. What does this say? Open your heart with Mother Earth. Oh, I love this one. Oh, And I love nothing better than going outside, barefoot, grass, grounding myself. Okay. This says, whoops, whoa, everything. Over the last few decades, there has been a societal shift and more time is spent indoors. You may find this is true of your lifestyle. As a child, you may have loved the outdoors and spent countless hours in nature. You may now spend many hours at your desk and your downtime indoors. When you are in nature, you may feel the fresh air clearing away heaviness and helping you let go of any issues weighing you down. When was the last time you contemplated the ocean's vastness, took in a majestic mountain range, or hiked in the forest? Nature has a way of reconnecting you with your heart and your dreams. There's so much to do outdoors, such as gardening, walking, camping, or barbecuing. Going out at night to gaze at the moon and the stars. By the way, Venus has been visible this whole week. If you haven't seen her, this is going to be recorded. Never mind. Anyway, so going out at night to gaze at the moon and the stars is another wonderful way to enjoy the healing magic of the outdoors. Challenge yourself to get back to nature and see how much better you feel. Okay, about this card. A young forest sprite plays in the cradle of a tree. The roots, trunk, trees, and canopy remind us to ground and reach for the sky. Mix solid foundations and lofty goals with time to enjoy nature.
I love it. I love it. You know, it's interesting. This week, I'm heading into my 50th birthday in June. And
Nifty 50!
yes. And so I decided to give myself a 50-day challenge leading up to my 50th birthday. And I'm calling it my half-century hustle. And it's 50, and so I'm requiring myself to do 50 minutes of movement a day. And I've been out in nature every day since the 11th. And so it's been like, this is exactly what I needed. And I'd love to go kayaking and connect with nature. So I needed to hear this today. Absolutely. And it makes such a difference in my mood and the way that I see the world. When you recognize all the mess is, you know, that's just a mess. But when you step outside, the nature is there and it will always be there for you, right? And so that connection is just important. So yeah, that feels good.
That's awesome. I love
Thank you
that.
for sharing that. Oh, wow, I got chills.
Yeah, I know. That was great. Interesting. So Renee wanted us to each pull for her. So I pulled from the Rooted Woman. I pulled the lake.
Whoa.
What is that? What is? Okay, you're
That's
gonna
a
tell
sea
us.
serpent.
Oh,
Because, you know, it's probably related to Nessie, but, you know, not Nessie.
not Sigmund the sea monster.
No.
Never mind. Continue.
Oh my gosh, right?
In Europe, let's see, it says the lake, what lurks beneath. In European myth and folklore, lakes are mysterious, magical, and sometimes ominous places. In Welsh mythology, for example, the gateway to Anwen, the Welsh name for the other world, could often be found in the bottom of deep lakes. In Gaelic traditions of Scotland and Ireland, the lakes can harbor monsters such as a water horse who would steal away unsuspecting maidens and carry her to his home at the bottom of the lake to be his wife. Oh. I love the strange things that things do in mythology. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates exhorted us to know thyself, and in the spirit the lake card invites us to confront our own monsters and to explore our shadow side. According to Carl Jung, the shadow archetype isn't necessarily the dark side of us. Rather, it represents all the personal traits we've ignored, denied, or cut off from our awareness in order to create what we imagine to be a functioning personality. In working with our shadow, our aim should not be to suppress or repress any aspect of who we are. but to come to know all sides of ourselves. To integrate our shadow is to confront our inner demons and acknowledge the darkness within us, because becoming conscious of this is the only way to understand and deal with our destructive tendencies. This work then involves the inner strength and commitment to be able to question our core beliefs and values, but the rewards are great. In coming to understand who we really are, we can make significant progress along our heroine's journey and move into a new, authentic, meaningful life stage of life.
Okay, that's the second time values have come up.
Huh?
Right? That's the second time values have come up. I think, was it my card? Talks
Yeah, I
about
think so.
values. Your card talks about values. Oh, there are no coincidences.
Yeah, and this card is exactly, so the sabbatical that I went on, I mean, we'll probably get to this, but
Oh, we will.
it was all about stepping into the reality of who I am and who I was at that moment. Looking at yourself in all aspects, like a 360-degree view of the reality of you, the things that you try to hide from yourself, the uncomfortable truths, the things that you're afraid to acknowledge, whether that is hope or failure or, habits. And I spent 23 days examining that, and it led to a huge major shift. I came out of that a whole new person. I left an abusive marriage. I changed my name. Everything shifted because I have the strength, and I forced myself to look at the reality of who I had become, who I had allowed myself to become, and all those uncomfortable truths. And then you learn to truly, I think that's the first step to actually be able to love yourself, is to accept every single part of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the times you've let yourself down, the people you let down, the people you lift up, all the things. It's transformational. So that's amazing that card got pulled, because I feel like that's my story. That's what I went through, and I'm supposedly on the other side of that, but you're never fully, you never fully come out of tragic circumstances unchanged, and it informs your day every day.
Oh, absolutely. And we never stop learning, being curious, growing, right? Oh, dang. This is going to be an amazing interview.
It is.
All right. So now I get the pleasure of welcoming Renee to the Smiling Souls podcast. Renee King is a designer, author, entrepreneur, and creator of Fractal Courage, a creative restoration platform born from her own season of burnout, collapse, reinvention, and rebuilding. After years of overfunctioning, caregiving, entrepreneurship, and quietly losing herself beneath the weight of it all, Renee stepped away from her life and business to take a self-imposed sabbatical at one of the hardest points in her life. What followed was not a perfect transformation, but the beginning of learning that leaving, deciding, and changing your circumstances is only the starting point. There is still a distance between who you were and who you are becoming. Through journaling, watercolor, reflection, and the creative restoration practices she built during that season, Renee slowly began rebuilding a life that felt more honest, sustainable, and her own. Fractal Courage grew from that experience and from the belief that even the broken, burned out, overwhelmed versions of ourselves are still capable of small, daily acts of bravery, tiny choices, honest pauses, quiet acts of courage that slowly add up, helping us reconnect with ourselves, reclaim our voice, and begin taking the wheel of our lives again, one step at a time. So Renee, Stephanie, and I are so excited to welcome you to Smiling Souls.
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah. Where do we start?
I want to know about this 23-day sabbatical.
Yes.
Just go ahead, tell us. I don't even know where to ask to start.
Yeah. Okay. Without doing trauma dump, I will give you kind of some context before I went on the sabbatical. But I had, the reality of my life is I had been in a very destructive and abusive marriage while running a very successful national and international interior design business. And so I worked in commercial world, which was it's very taxing. Anything in interiors is. But I had put all my energy into building this business and trying to keep my family afloat financially. And that I sort of denied the reality of what happened behind closed doors. That was a whole different reality for me. And I lost myself in it. I became extremely agoraphobic. I had a suicidal attempt. And in that moment, I realized like, I'm willing to unalive myself because I thought that would be the best for my children. Like that my mess and the person I was would be better to just exit stage left. And as I was sitting there, this realization came to me. It's like, if you're willing to put this much effort to like exit life, why don't you put that into like finding out why you don't want to be here anymore? Like, why do I not have that next step? And I, as a professional, we go to, conferences, and we're always listening to either self-help, self-improvement. And I was in and out of therapy my whole life, dealing with a lot of things. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take the best parts of all of this and I'm going to take myself away. And most people can't do this, but I was in a position where I work remotely. I could take my laptop and just keep my business running. And so I was trying to find a place to stay for 30 days away from my husband, my children, my family, and just be like, hear my own voice again, because I had lost it within like this performative personality, right? And so I couldn't find a place for 30 days, but I could find a place that had availability. It was an Airbnb in the middle of the mountains in Oregon that had 23 days available. And it just so happened to be the year of 2023. And so I thought, okay, that feels bookend. That feels aligned. And so I left, which I don't recommend if you are suicidal. Please don't go somewhere alone. But I needed it for myself. And I put together this whole practice of like, when I say agoraphobic, I was to the point where I was not even taking care of myself in the minimal ways, like bathing, brushing my teeth. Like I would not leave my room or my bed for months at a time. And everyone in my outer world had no idea because I was still performing. I was still making meetings, and via Zoom, and I would turn off my camera because I didn't want them to see the life I was living. Right. And so all of that, in the sabbatical, I put together this whole framework of like, these are things you have to do. The reason you're here is to learn to live again and to find out. I set aside 3 goals. It was to find out what I want. How did I get here? And how do I move forward? Like where does my life want to go from now? And so in those few days that I spent alone, I started to recognize, to hear my own voice. I forced myself to get out of bed every day. I put my shoes on. I did little things to care for myself. I had to make my own food. I was so far away from everything, like I had to do that. And then I would go on nature walks and do the things that I loved as a young adult. Like I used to be a whitewater rafting guide on the Salmon River. I was a very active young adult. And I had literally forgotten all of that in these reality of identities, like the business owner, the mother, the wife. And so in that moment, I found created a ritual that I needed to get back to my creative self. And I have always loved the story behind like the Tibetan monks, how they will create that beautiful sand art that sometimes can take up to months to create. And then as soon as they're done, they literally sweep it away. And so they spend months and months and months building something beautiful, and then they erase it. And it's about teaching them that the journey is the beauty, like the beauty is in the journey, not the result. And art, when you're an artist, sometimes you get so hung up in the result of your art and not the journey of the creation of your art. And so I wanted to get back to that. So one of the things I did every night was I created this strategy of like, I had to be up and active all day. I had to spend a certain amount of time outdoors, etc. And then at night I would journal, and then I would paint. And so I got a 12 by 12 canvas, and I did watercolor paint, which you normally don't do on a canvas. And I would paint it, and then I would set it up on my bedside, and then I would take a phrase from my journal, and that's what I would name the painting for that day. And then the next morning, I washed the canvas clean, and then I would paint over it again. And so day after day, you started to see the layers of the paints from the day before, or 3 days before, or a week ago. And it sort of was this reminder of like these fractures of time where some days I didn't want to paint, and you can tell, like I literally would just put dots on the canvas. It was just, I couldn't do something. And then the very pinnacle day when I decided to make the shift of like the recognition that I was in an abusive relationship and that I had allowed myself to not set boundaries and that I needed to leave my husband. I was sitting on the patio and the sun was setting and I couldn't figure out what to paint. And I had my water glass and it was a kind of a verdigris glass. And as the sun was setting, it cast light through the glass of water onto the canvas in these beautiful fractures of prisms of light. And so in that moment, I painted what I tried to recreate what I saw across the canvas with the sun setting. And that's where the idea of this fractal courage moment came to me, is that I was a fractured person. I was not whole. And I kept thinking, where is my value? Because I no longer want to perform value, but I have value even though I'm broken. And there are pieces of me everywhere. So let's take those little pieces of light and make them into something. And it's sort of that idea kind of sprang from that. And that day was also the day I made the decision to actually leave, that and that I would change my name. I wasn't going to go back to my maiden name, and I was going to go by my middle name, and lots of things changed for me. It was a big shift. And so coming out of that reality, like a couple of things happened that I talk about in the book that I've now written about this journey. That leaving my husband, I thought, and so many people who flee their abusers, they think, okay, now I've removed myself from the situation. It is better. I am better. And everything's going to be good from here. But the reality is that's just geography. Like I just changed my location, but all the patterns of me allowing him to treat me that way were still in me. And so if I had carried into another relationship, I would have probably been chosen a similar circumstance or allowed it to happen. And so that's what I've spent this time, is that the big realization of like, yeah, that aha moment, like Wendy was talking about with, the group that you were teaching, and the woman that was like, yeah, now I've made this epiphany and I need to but you have to sit in that change and examine, do the 360 of your whole life, and like, yes, I was abused and that is on him, but also partly on me because I allowed it. I did not set boundaries. I did not recognize my own value in the relationship. And I failed to stand up for myself. And that then, I saw that echo across how I dealt with clients. And it like weaved into my whole life of allowing people to step over me. And so it was so I talk a lot about the gap between making a decision to change and even leaving, even if that's what you do. But then the reality of becoming that new person and living it every day. It feels uncomfortable. It feels illegal to set boundaries. If you haven't, it feels like, if you're a people pleaser, you don't want someone to be mad at you. And so you're still like, you fight when you set a boundary or when you step back. And so that's what Fractal Courage was. Like, a year ago, I actually set out to write a book about the business of interior design for commercial designers. And I just couldn't get over the hump of it, and Stephanie, I think you talked about, your little project on Square that sat there, but it wasn't quite ready. And I just kept coming back to this notebook that I kept, the journal I kept during that 23-day sabbatical. And I was like, maybe there's something here. Like, I would love to talk to other women who are dealing with this. I need their strength, but I also feel compelled to share my story and how I overcame all of these tragedies that, taking responsibility for the ugly parts that were mine to deal with, and then living every day. And I'm still in this boomerang. I call the gap sort of a boomerang effect. Like, there are days where you're like, I am conquering this and I don't even care. And then there are days where like, the patterns come back. They keep repeating and you're too tired to circumvent them for that day.
That was amazing.
Yeah, so that's a lot. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Never apologize for that. That was, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you.
That was amazing. And the outlook on that, like, I loved hearing about the canvas, like layering on it and giving it a name each day. And that's fascinating. What did it look like by the end? Just
Well, yeah, I
curiosity.
actually still have it. It's not. I was like, I should have brought it out, but the very last day, I tried to paint. Now, granted, I'm not an amazing artist, but I love just art. But I painted some lilacs because it was the summertime, the springtime, and lilacs are my favorite, and they're only here for a hot minute. But you can see the remnants of days past. Like if I use like dark colors, like you could see it, and I would, and I keep it in my living room, and when I look at it, I remember the journey. You know, if the days that I didn't want to paint, I washed them away, and the next day I wanted to paint. It was like I didn't have to live with the finality of the painting from the day before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that really does.
Wow.
Yeah,
Powerful.
it's very powerful, and it's about letting go too. I think so many of us who perform every day, like if you're a perfectionist and you're performing for everyone, you are living for that result, and you tie your identity to the result and not to the journey.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like it pushed me to shift where I place my value in my own identity, and then looking to, explore those ugly parts too. Like, anyway, so that for me, that whole painting is a representation of that journey that I took, and the transformation, and the fact that it's still ongoing. It's not, I don't get to the destination when you're healing from those kinds of abuse, trauma, and I was very far down. And the fact that I can even talk about it now without sobbing, is testament to sort of the things that I've been doing to help myself. But trust that I do have those days where it's the reality of what I've dealt with and how far I've come sort of hit you all at once too.
Yeah.
That's the journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You being able to talk about this now without sobbing.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do, but that's the journey.
Yeah.
So when I was reading your bio before I even met you, and I latched on to sabbatical. It's like, that's interesting, 23 days. So this has come up for me before. I read Barbara Stanny, who's now Barbara Hewson's book, Sacred Success. I've read all of her books, just to be honest. She's a money expert, coach kind of thing. She's also kind of a badass. Anyway, long story short, in this book, she took a year sabbatical because she was leaving, I think her second marriage, and there was stuff with that, and there was past stuff that she had to write. And so she took a year. She did no work. That was her boundary. She's like, no, I'm just going to be. I'm going to sleep when I need it. I'm going to go outside when I need it. And she ended up journaling and being in nature. And she filled, I don't know how many notebooks full of just, she got so much out. She said she felt like she was channeling, or she was being channeled. She was just guided to write all this stuff. And she came out of that year with the framework and the thought process and the person that she is now. So my question with all of this is, what would you tell someone that does not have 23 days, that does not have a year to take a sabbatical?
Well, that's what my whole platform is built on. Is that it's absolutely that. Most people can't step away from their life, and I still had to do a little bit of work, but I forced myself to keep that very, like, I would have 1 hour a week because I was in a position where I had the ability to do that. But most of us, especially those of us who are living in burnout and overwhelmed and over functioning, we can't even take 10 minutes to breathe. And so my whole platform is built on take the principles that I give you, that I teach you, and put those into the micro acts of courage every day. Even if it's the 10, like Stephanie, the 10 minutes of looking out your window and taking a deep breath, or stepping out into nature. Because what that creates is a pattern break. So I talk a lot about identifying a pattern. Once you've identified a pattern, then you interrupt it. And that's pattern interruption. So the small act of pattern interruption actually leads to wider cracks, those fractals of energy that compounded over time. Like, I don't know if you've read the book, The Compound Effect, but it's really the same principality of like small micro actions every day lead up to this massive change at the end.
Yeah.
And so what I'm teaching in those workshops where I'm recreating that, the watercolor exercise, and we do a little bit of journaling, we do a little bit of meditation. It's about, it could take 5 minutes, it could take 20 minutes. But if you break it up, once you've established a pattern, you can interrupt it with a micro millisecond, and multiple interruptions over the same pattern lead to breaking that pattern. And then there's room to create a new pattern. And so we're talking about identify, interrupt, and create. And you can do that on the micro moments of your life. And that's why, that's why I've built this whole platform, is because most of us cannot do a sabbatical, but we can do micro sabbaticals, even if it's like put on your headset at the end of the day and you're listening to a meditation before you go to sleep, whatever it is, something that feeds you to find yourself in the mess. Women in general tend to perform so much for so many aspects of life.
Right.
And we are the nurturers, and I think a lot of people in our lives can take advantage of that. And we allow it because we're nurturing. We're like, they need it. And we become these givers, but we forget that our fountain will run dry if we don't feed ourselves as well. And so that's what I talk about, is like, even the small acts of courage can lead up. Most of us aren't going to have the opportunity to save someone's life, or run after a man who snatched a purse. We're not going to be the hero in that way. Yeah. But we can become the hero in our own lives through those small, tiny moments where we remember ourselves, where we recognize, I react to when a stimulus happens, this is how I always react, and maybe I shouldn't be reacting that way. So I stop that reaction as soon as I recognize it in the moment. And that creates those fractures that open you up. So yeah, that's what I would say, is that it is possible. It just has to be intentional.
That's brilliant. What's up?
So I'm thinking about, is it Japanese or Chinese? You remember the art of, like, if a vase breaks and
Yes, it's
it's filled in with gold? That's what just came up for me.
Yes, I know the term. I can't remember, but it is actually something
term
that has been very inspirational for me, because they actually talk about that it becomes more beautiful and it's stronger, right? And the fractures then become part of the patterning that create that beauty. And it's kind of an interesting thought process that we as women can take on this ownership and step into it without. It doesn't mean you have to abandon the people in your life or the folks that depend on you. It's really about reclaiming your time and recognizing that in itself is not a selfish act. It's actually selfless if you feed yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a hard recognition, though. We really don't let ourselves, I think, most of us.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Okay, so the other thing that came up when I was just starting this process, I didn't even know I was, like, healing and becoming someone different. Like, I would drive the same route when I worked the job, same route every day, here and there, here and there. And my pattern interrupt, which I didn't realize is what I was actually doing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go this way today. Right? And that started, you know what? I'm not going to use this lotion today when I get out of the shower. I'm going to use this lotion today. And it just, like what you're talking about, Renee, just very small micro moves open you up to something so much bigger. So even if you think you're doing something really small and inconsequential, you're really not.
No, and it opens you up to possibility. I think in some ways it helps you connect with your inner child. Like when you were a child, you didn't really try to live a Groundhog Day. And as an adult, we Groundhog Day all the time. And so, like, when you start opening up, you start to connect with your inner child, and that excitement and the effervescence of life, I suppose, kind of comes back in. And it's funny because one of the things I have two young adult men, or children, boys. They're my boys, but they're big boys now, I guess. But they, a year out after all of this change happened, I left my ex and sort of started on this journey for real. You know, my youngest son came to me and he was like, Mom, I feel like I'm meeting you for the first time. Like, I have not seen you this happy and excited. And it stuck with me that, like, it really fed me, but it also made me extremely sad because he was now a young adult, and that's the first time he was seeing me, that I was sharing the inner me, right? And so it was a moment of recognition, but also like, wow, okay, I am on this track. I am making changes that are recognizable to others, not just myself, right?
That's so good. So you've got the book and you've alluded to some retreats. What else do you do with people? How do you work with people?
So there's coaching. So like with the book, obviously the book is kind of written as sort of a guide. It's a short book. It's not a trauma dump. It's like, I might talk a little bit about my history, but then here's the things that I worked on and here's some strategies. And then the workbook compounds that, and it's a 90-day workbook that sort of brings you into training you to do micro acts, and it's set into different phases. Each month is like, it's rest, retreat, and recharge. So each month is, the first month is rest, recognizing how to rest and let yourself rest, and creating the patterns of rest, and then retreat, and you know, like, get away from all the things that are bringing you down, and then recharge. What do I care about now? Are there things from my childhood or my youth that maybe I want to bring back to my life? Or when I was, you know, like when I graduated high school, where did I think my life would be? And am I close to that life? And maybe I want to rethink that. And so what I take is all of that. So there's a lot of things that I do, whether it's coaching. I run a coaching course to help women who are going through the workbook, and we just do the micro bites of, you know, twice a month, where we kind of check in and check on status and share journeys. And then I'm hosting workshops. I'm starting out locally in the Pacific Northwest, but I'm booking them all over the country, where we're going to create that. We're going to do a little bit of reading, meditation, journaling, and then the watercolor painting. And so I'm helping to get that in front of women's groups and leadership groups and, you know, your friends. I'm calling it burnout and brushes. Like, bring your burnout and let's do this together. It's an existential paint night is what I call it. So, so that's my hope. So we're launching that here soon. And then the retreat that's coming up, within all of this, the Persephone Rising identity is sort of something, you know, Persephone as her persona. In Greek mythology, she was captured and taken to the underworld and had to fight her way back to life. And when she got back to life, she realized that she wasn't the same, and she was now a bridge between the underworld and the living. And for me, that really, I feel that way. Like, I feel like I had gone so far down in my life that now I'm obligated to be that bridge between the beginning and the end of where you might have been, like the end of who you were and the beginning of the new you. And I feel like that's a selfish act for me, because it feeds me as much as hopefully I'm helping other women. And so I'm creating this retreat at the end in October. It'll be more information coming soon, but we're going to have folks who are going to come and speak about self-care, and we're going to recreate some of the things that I did on my sabbatical. We're going to do things like sound bath therapy, and it's going to be a small event, 35 to 50 folks. And I'm bringing in professionals. So it's going to be a mix of sort of lecture, workshop, and retreat over a few days.
Where is it going to be?
So that's going to be in Coeur d'Alene at the Coeur d'Alene Resort here in Idaho in October.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. When you were talking about Persephone Rising and the description about her story in Greek mythology, geez, I got chills.
Yeah.
Woo! Oh my.
Well, I mean, that's why, Stephanie, your rooted cards was like,
right?
Oh my gosh. Even the image on the front is sort of the ideology of the logo that we have for Persephone Rising. And she's always depicted as with a pomegranate, because a pomegranate has multiple seeds, like endless seeds, like the beginning. The beginning requires multiple starts to grow again. And so the pomegranate kind of is the symbol of everlasting life, like that renewal and that retreat. So Yeah. But anyway, it's been a crazy journey for me to like see how far I've come. You know, on May 11th was my 3-year anniversary coming out of that sabbatical that changed everything.
Holy
And it
cow.
also just so happened to bookend. So it was exactly May 11th was 50 days away from my 50th birthday. And that's why I decided to do this 50-day challenge. So it feels like that day is
fantastic.
forever like memorialized in my psyche. But yeah, so anyway, it's exciting. And my hope is that I can help other women, whether they're entrepreneurs like me or they're just burned out in their life from performing, from being a mom or working towards whatever goal, like that we can all rest and remember that we have strength and find the me in all of this. Is one of the quotes that I have from my journal, is like, how do I find me within my life? And how do I make sure my life, the life I've built, services myself as much as others?
Wow.
Wait.
I know.
We got to send Michelle a great big thank you.
For reals. Oh, this is so good. Oh my goodness. So let's see. So you've already talked about the retreat. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we wrap up for today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I want to share is that no matter who you are or where you are or what you're facing, that inner light, that bowl of light is there. It's inside of you, and you just have to reach to find it. And the strength to create the life that you want. It might seem impossible, it might feel impossible. When I was at the depths, when I was at that suicidal attempt moment, I couldn't see a future for myself. I couldn't see myself even into the next 5 minutes. And that for me was the darkest moment, because I was always this person who had plans. I had plans for plans. I had, if plan A failed, I had plan Z, you know, like I had plans. But when I got to the moment of like, I can't see myself breathing into the next moment, even in that moment, I had the strength. And the biggest realization that I had is something that my psychologist had told me months before that was extremely sad. It scared me, but it also woke me up. And it's the fact that no one is coming to rescue you. And I think so many of us think that this next potion or this next leadership or that, like it, they can help you. You do need a support network, but the only one who can get you out of your situation is you, and you can do it. And the fact that I left an abuser and all the things, like I won't get into all of that, but anyone who's in that situation, even when it feels like there are no options, there are options. And it's just like, trust your gut, trust your light, and trust your gut, because it will never lead you astray. And we get too far into our lives trusting the head over the heart. And that's where things go wrong. And so that's what I would say. My recommendation is that just remember, we have the strength, and reach out for the tools, find your community, get a support group. There are other women who have felt it, who are going through it. And we're such a great community. Like, once you connect with other women who feel that way or have gone through it, you realize, wow, we all have strength. And I did have the strength, and I do have the strength to make changes that will last, and hopefully can then, it's this ripple effect that you can help others as well along the way, no matter where you're at. And I think 100%. that feeds all of us. It's that whole cycle of life.
100%.
Ooh, well, I think that's a beautiful way to wrap this up. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah, for real. This was an amazing episode, and I feel like we can talk to you for days. So we will.
I'd love to be on again, for
Yay.
sure.
So shall it be.
Yeah. All right. We will see you next time.
Ooh. Remember to like and subscribe if you've loved this episode, and hit the bell and do all the things, because it really does help us out so that more women get to see us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.